Well, I'll keep it as simple as I can. It hurts to lose, and it hurts more when it's the last game of the year, and it hurts the most when you're surrounded by a group of guys that is a really, really special group of individuals. So there's not a lot more to say than that. If we want to ask about the game, I'll answer some of those questions. But honestly, for me, that's so far down the list of things. But I understand that's what we're here for.
Okay, representing South Carolina's student athletes are Meechie Johnson and Lamont Cooper. Questions for student athletes? Right here on the right.
Alan Cole, GamecockScoop.com. If you could each take this, when you think back about this season in 5 years, 10 years, whatever, what do you think people are going to remember about South Carolina men's basketball this year and what you did for the program?
I feel like they're going to think that this was a winning group, change the program around from the year that they had the year before. Just a great group of guys that just love to play with each other.
Meechie, you want to add to that?
Yeah, like Talon said, just a great group of guys, special group. Went into a lot of places, a lot of arenas, and a lot of people kindly drew out and did some good things this year. Obviously came up short, but just can't take away what we did and the group of guys that was on this team, the fun we had.
Question on the right.
Andrew Lyon, part of Gamecock Digest over on SI.com. Talon, one of the videos that South Carolina's played throughout this entire season has been you from that moment early in the season where you said it's a new era in South Carolina basketball. How do you feel knowing that you played a massive part of that in your last year of college basketball?
Yeah, it's Talon, by the way, but I'm extremely honored and blessed to be able to come here and put on from a home state, and I give all credit to Coach Paris for that, but just blessed and thankful for the opportunity that I had.
Question on the left here.
For either of you guys, John Whittle, thebigspur.com. What was kind of the basics of the game plan against Jermaine today? What were y'all trying to get him to do, and what was he able to do to kind of combat y'all?
Meechie, you want to take that?
Yeah, he was a good player. Made some tough shots, especially over good defense, contested defense. And he made, like I said, he made tough shots. Good player. I mean, he tried to contain him as much as we could, getting downhill. He's a strong driver, but he shot the ball well today. Like I say, he's a good player.
Question on the right here.
Brooke Pryor, ESPN. Talon, that half-court buzzer beater shot that you had, what's going through your mind when you let that one go? And did you feel like it was money when you shot it right before half?
No, I didn't have no thought. Just kind of let it go and see where it did, and it just went in, and I just kept running.
Question back right.
Matthew Theodros, Duquesne Duke. What do you think was the biggest difference in that second half that allowed Oregon to make that a large advantage in the second half?
Meechie, you want to take that?
I mean, yeah, they were just, hitting tough shots, getting the ball down inside, maybe some offensive rebounds, They shot a lot of free throws as well. I mean, they hit some tough shots all night, honestly. Played pretty well as a team, and that's that.
Question on the left right here.
Madison Hertzik, The State. Meechie, this was a season that you talked about where you were wanting to find the right pieces, and knowing the journey that you guys have been on over the last 2 years, what has it meant to see those pieces kind of fall into place in the regular season and be able to kind of see what you guys can actually look like after your first season with Lamont?
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to the coaching staff and what they were able to do, bringing in the seniors and obviously Colin stepping up big, later on. Like I said, it really just starts with them. They believed in us since the jump. Like I always say, I remember Coach trying to tell me, I came back on my BJ Mack visit. We got a chance to go to a Final Four. Obviously, today was the last day, but they always believed in us when nobody else did, and that was why we was able to even get to this point. So it just really starts with them and their belief in us.
Questions for student athletes? Thank you. All right, please raise your hand. Someone will come around with the microphone. Questions for Coach Paris? Right here on the left.
Yeah, if you don't mind just kind of touching on the basics of what y'all were trying to do against Jermaine today and slow him down. And was it just making tough shots for him?
I mean, there was a lot. I mean, I wish we had found a way to slow him down better. Buddy went 5 for 9 from 3. Like, one's in transition as he's dribbling up right in front of us, and 7 for 7 from the free throw line. And he was aggressive going to the basket. And I think a few of those, I mean, he hit a floater against his own that we fouled him on. He makes tough shots. He doesn't average 40, but he makes tough shots. And I think it was set off by the fact that he went 5 for 9 from the three-point line. I thought that really ends up making that scoring effort into that scoring effort. If you go, it's hard to get there on twos, but when you go 7 for 7 from the free throw line and 5 for 9 from the three-point line, then something like that comes into it. We looked at a couple of things. We went zone for a couple of possessions just to try to slow down the ball screen a little bit, and then they got an and one off of a floater on that, and then out of our double team they reversed it. Out of our double team, split the double team, and kicked one more for a 3. So then I just, our energy wasn't quite as good in that, so we ended up staying man to man. But he was aggressive, and he had a good game. He had a good game. We're normally really good defensively. He had a good game.
Right, first row.
Nick Lawrence, Mid-Major Madness. Coach, I know you've touched on it all year, but last year it was obviously a tough year one. This year you were competing for an SEC title and you just played an NCAA tournament game. Just encapsulate all that and speak about how special that is to have this team and to do that this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think one day, here in the next couple days to a week or whatever, all that stuff will start to set in on what we actually did. When you're in the midst of it, it's hard to do that. You're someone's going to tell you, hey, you did this. You had a winning season. You're locked into a winning season, or you're locked into a winning SEC season, or you got double figures SEC wins first time in for however long. Like, they keep coming. They keep coming, and you're just so locked into trying to do what you need to do to try to give the guys this opportunity right here, which was our ultimate goal. And so it'll set in here in a couple days probably of what they really did. I didn't do a whole bunch, but they did a lot of things this year. And so that'll set in here over the next couple of days, but it's hard to think about that as much right now when you're really just worried more about your guys and how they're feeling.
Questions for Coach? Right here to the right.
Alan Cole, GamecockScoop.com. You've obviously been a part of a lot of teams, a couple Final Four teams as an assistant. What made this particular group so unique to coach over the course of a season?
I think it all stemmed from, it started with who they are as individuals. There's such a high-quality group of human beings. It would be hard for me to overstate that. That's relative. I've done this a long time. It's such a high. I think it started there, and then I think then it's how they interact with each other. Because you could have great guys, high quality guys that it just it just doesn't translate when it comes to how they mesh together, and it did in an incredible way, and so that really is what made this group able to do what they did on the basketball court. If you look, certainly our guys were better than what people predicted they would be, but they also probably weren't just the best individual talents at every position that we had. But they were winners. They are winners that came together. They're incredibly fierce competitors, and they came together with one goal. And they did that in a way that each of their individual abilities shined. And so, having been around some other teams that have done this, it's not the in my experiences, it's not the basketball component of it that allows you to do this. It ends up these other things that ultimately manifest themselves in a basketball game, but it has very little to do with how fast our guys run or how high they jump or the passing or shooting, or there's very little to do with that. And it certainly isn't because I have some magic play, but it always starts from within, and this group had all those characteristics and then some.
Last question, back right.
David Cloninger, Post and Courier. Lamont, you've spoken so much about this team getting this kind of success. Now, as the page turns, how much of a challenge will it be to replicate this success and keep this kind of thing going?
Well, I mean, to replicate the most wins in school history, that'll be difficult. We could be significantly better next year and have a worse record. That's the reality of it. So that's why you're always trying to identify the means by which you will gauge success. And it's not just what the record is. Certainly, ultimately, we'd like to be playing back in this tournament again and put ourselves in position to do that. I think that's the real challenge. I mean, it's a real challenge. If you look, I don't think I'm making anything up, but I think we had 9 NCAA tournament appearances in school history before this. So doing it with a level of consistency has been a challenge. And that will be a challenge for us too. But I'll tell you, from a foundation standpoint, on paper, this is 2024. So, we'll see what happens at the end of the season. But on paper, I mean, I really like what our foundation looks like. And I think more importantly than what those individuals are as basketball players, the culture that we have developed, the way in which we work, the way in which we interact, the way in which we respond to coaching, all that stuff that stuff could not be in a better place. And so I'm extremely optimistic. That's why I decided to come back. I love it at South Carolina. I love our guys. I love the people I'm around. I love the other coaches. I love who I work with. And there was a lot of speculation about a lot of other things that were out there. And so it's no accident that I ended up right back where I am, and it hopefully displays the level of belief that I have in not only what we're doing as a staff, but just in who we're around every day and what I believe that looks like moving forward.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.